I hadn't done anything in any way resembling exercise in many years, and because I just felt like the older I got, the more I was not going to magically get into shape. You know, I wasn't going to suddenly become skinny or ripped or anything like that by sitting around eating, you know, honey-dipped peanuts or whatever. So I found your card and decided, what the hell, I'll give it a try. I knew it would be incredibly difficult. I expected that. I expected more like screaming, yelling, you know, high intensity, big muscular drill sergeant guys kicking us in the ribs, sort of like fraternity pledgeship was when I was in college, but more pleasant. So that's honestly what I expected. What I got was unrelenting positivity, and you know, that's what it's all about. Never anything discouraging, never anything negative. Always, you can do more. You know, we definitely get pushed, but you know, always in a positive manner. Well, I mean, I'm wearing clothes that were, you know, in cold storage for quite a while, shorts, underwear, that sort of thing that were, you know, I'd sort of written off as no longer applicable in this case. Certainly more energy, you know, I don't get out of breath going up and down stairs. That's nowhere near an issue. Little backaches and pains that had just begun to creep up on me around my 25th birthday are no longer, you know, no longer there. So pretty good. Spectacular. Except for Lauren Lorenzo. No, everybody was great. There wasn't one person that I could really say anything even I could even characterize as average, because, you know, they're all so good and well trained, and, you know, even when the lead instructors aren't there, you know, the other instructors are able to pick up and do what I would guess the lead instructors would do in their stead. I learned that I got a lot of ideas of, you know, that you don't have to eat nuts and twigs and, you know, tofu the entire time. There's definitely a little bit of give there and some creativity that you can apply to the way you cook and when you eat out and that sort of thing. And so yeah, that was probably the main thing. I mean, if there were any, it was only about myself as to whether or not I was going to, especially that first session, was I going to be able to stick with getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning? Was I, you know, going to be able to stick with it, particularly at that hour of the day? That was going to be the tough part. But was I going to be able to stick with it for 30 days? And instead I stuck with it for 120 days. So, you know, that was the great part. So, yeah.